This recruiter hit me up on LinkedIn, which doesn't happen often since I completely de-optimized my LinkedIn profile. I figured, let's open it up. Maybe there's a little something for us to talk about. And OMG, they did not disappoint. This job description had red flags flying, including this VUCA thing that we really need to talk about. If you're ready to dig into it with me, tap the like button and let's jump straight in. First of all, let's talk about this title, shall we? This job is for a Salesforce manager. And quick background, which is going to be very relevant and is probably why this recruiter slid into my DMs. I used to work at Salesforce in client and partner enablement. But also, during my time at Salesforce, I learned a lot about the Salesforce ecosystem. And one of the reasons why I love Salesforce as a company is because they create so many jobs beyond Salesforce. And no, this isn't sponsored. I am just still a really big stan. And they create so many resources for the Salesforce community, including this handy dandy site, which has career paths, average salaries, and whatnot. Now notice here that Salesforce Manager is not actually listed. Now quite honestly, even with my experience, I was like, what is a Salesforce Manager? So I turned to the job description to learn a bit more. And from what is written, or at least how I'm reading it, what they're really looking for is a Salesforce architect. And the requirements that are listed here are not so simple. So why are they calling it a Salesforce Manager and not a Salesforce architect? I did put Salesforce Manager into a search in LinkedIn to see if that job title was actually a thing, and it did yield a certain number of results. So this is not a novel job title, or is it novel? But, and this is purely speculation on my part, in my opinion, I think that they changed it because of the next red flag that I spotted in this job description, and that is the pay. If you've been hanging around with me for a while, and especially if you watch any of my rants over on TikTok, you know that I am a huge advocate of pay transparency. And New York City, where I am based and where this job is based, just passed a salary transparency law, so as of April 2022, all job postings need to have the salary posted. And I am going to give this job description credit because it does specifically disclose the salary and the bonus structure. There's no $100,000 pay ranges, no wondering what the compensation is going to be. It is right there. Based on what they've put here, I can go to my calculator and see that the OTE is going to be $149,500 per year. This number might be like, what? Depending on where you live, your industry, and your job. And I want to be really clear, this job is paying almost $150,000. Even in New York City, the median household income is just shy of $64,000, meaning that even here, this salary is high. And I needed to say that because you are going to think I am completely out of touch with what I'm going to say next. But it's really important that I say this because left unaddressed, this is one of the reasons why so many people are underpaid. What immediately struck me about the salary is that it seems a little bit low. Remember, a high salary does not mean it's a fair salary. And I really want you to think about this because I've worked with so many people that thought that they were asking for a really high salary only to do their salary research and realize that they're asking for way below the market standards. If you want a video where I deep dive into how I research salaries without purchasing any salary reports, let me know in the comments. Because that really is the most important thing in terms of salary negotiation and making sure that you're being compensated fairly. Now, again, in order for me to say that the salary looks kind of low, I had to qualitatively look at the job, which isn't as simple as it seems. First of all, if we look at the surface job title, it's honestly really annoying and difficult to research the average salary. It's not on that handy dandy Salesforce site. And when I visit my usual suspects like PayScale, LinkedIn salary, or levels, I'm mostly getting salaries for managers at Salesforce, which is not what I'm looking for right now. That said, we already discussed that this is more of a Salesforce architect role. And because that's what the job really is, it is what I would base the compensation expectations on. Job titles can be deceiving. What I would really like to do for this is to base the compensation expectations based on the actual job, which is a Salesforce architect. Salesforce site does indicate that a Salesforce architect is going to be compensated about $120,000 a year, which at the surface is putting this job in a really good place. However, that site is giving aggregate United States information. And this, my friends, is New York City. Salaries tend to be higher here. Again, I had a hard time when visiting my usual suspects, but I did find some information on Comparably, which put the average compensation at $222,000 per year. ZipRecruiter, which put it at slightly over 185,000, and a few jobs that I saw posted over on LinkedIn had salary ranges posted which were much higher. Now there is more that goes into this, so to be clear, I did a few quick searches before I filmed this video, so I'm not definitively saying that this is a terrible salary and that anyone who earns $150,000 a year is going to be so hard done by. Again, I'm sharing my opinion. Always do your own research, my friends. But really, those two things, while they are red flaggy to me, are tiny blips compared to the real issue that I have with this. And that is this line that reads, ability to effectively navigate and excel in a VUCA environment. Don't know what VUCA is? Neither did I. It means volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. What in the ever-living are companies now? Seriously just saying, okay, we're chaos, we have no idea what we're doing. We're gonna make your job impossible and not give you the tools to succeed. And it's a perk. Y'all, the level of gaslighting going on here. And please let me know in the comments, because if this is me a few years ago reading this job description, I totally would have been like, yeah, I can thrive in a VUCA environment. Even when it would have been at the expense of my physical, psychological, and emotional well-being. Let's be really clear on one thing here. The company who wrote this knew exactly what they were doing. And instead of saying,
maybe that's a problem,
they are trying to frame it as a perk. You've got to be kidding me. If you're working with a big company and working with complex things and multiple technologies, is there going to be complexity? Yes. Will there be ambiguity sometimes? Yes. Uncertainty? Occasionally. Situations where unexpected changes happen, of course. But those should not be the norm. The warm embrace of the VUCA environment tells me that leadership doesn't care to get their acts together. They're embracing the incompetence that creates these things, about the employees who will operate under high stress levels and probably burn out, and ultimately about the success of their own business. The research-backed facts are happy employees are more productive, and productivity equals profitability. People need to feel like their work matters, like they're not spinning their wheels doing work that is being constantly thrown away. And frankly, if you can't provide a positive work environment and you're just being like, yeah, we're a VUCA environment, it's such a great thing, you need to compensate for it, monetarily speaking. As awareness is increasing regarding toxic work environments, and millions of people are quitting their jobs as part of the Great Resignation because their BS tolerance is set to about 0, companies like this are going to have a really hard time both hiring and retaining talent. Which leaves me really concerned about the people that are actually going to be working there and what quality of coworkers you would have. And this, in my opinion, has the potential to create an even more exploitive situation for the people that are there. Because the people that don't leave are gonna be the VUCA type people, and the people that will actually agree to be hired by these VUCA environment companies are going to be the folks that have limited options, such as the young professionals that are just entering the workforce, new immigrants who struggle to get their first job in the US because they need to have US work experience to be deemed hireable, and career changers, or even those who are re-entering the workforce after taking a work break to have a family or to take care of an elderly or sick family member. What they're trying to call a VUCA environment is a toxic work environment. And that toxic environment has the power to destroy confidence, limit career potential, and keep people in those jobs underpaid. That is my problem with the companies that embrace being toxic work environments. So much so that they advertise it in a job description with a seemingly glossy acronym. At the end of the day, it takes the same level of effort to be awesome as it takes to be awful. They decide who they are, but you get to decide who you work for. Now, not all job descriptions are going to be this obvious in advertising that they are a toxic work environment, but there's a lot of red flags that are thrown up during the job interview. I want you to go and watch this video right now so that you can find out what they are. But before you go, if you haven't already, if this video helped you, like it, really helps my channel, makes you my favorite career bestie, win-win situation. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.